The most common dysfunction that we deal with is the avoidance of accountability. And that's a team. Even if they trust each other, engage in conflict, and make a commitment to something, they often hesitate to hold each other accountable to what they've committed to, either behaviorally or in terms of their performance. As it turns out, people just don't like to have, that's a very uncomfortable thing. It's one thing to disagree with somebody around an issue. It's another thing to say, I don't think you're doing this well. And this is understandable, human nature, but a great team has to crack this code, and they have to make accountability a part of their culture. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is most people think accountability comes from the leader. And yes, the leader has to be the ultimate arbiter of accountability, no doubt about it. But the primary source of accountability on a great team, whether this is in the military, in sports, in a church, in a business, any kind of an organization, is team members. Because the most effective way to be held accountable is by the person who's with you, who sees the issue first and can say to you, hey, what's going on here? The opposite of what happens is when they go to the leader and they say, hey, I don't want you to tell Fred that I told you this, but he's not doing what we agreed to. Then the leader gets dragged into it, has to confront Fred. Fred wonders who ratted him out. Now we've got politics and all other kind of things going on in the organization. The best thing that can happen on a team is when peers get used to saying to one another, I think I need to help you here. I think I need more from you. And the irony of that is the only way for that to happen is if the leader, the ultimate arbiter, demonstrates that he or she is willing to be that person. When a leader hesitates to hold people accountable, and lots of leaders do, I know I struggle with this as a leader myself. Many leaders do not like to be the one to tell people bad news about their performance. And so they hesitate, or they focus on positive things, or worse yet, they talk about people when they're not around, but they don't talk to them about their issues. Then what happens is the other people on the team say, why should I do his or her dirty work? And they stop holding each other accountable. So the irony is the only way to create a culture in which my people will hold each other accountable is if they know that I will do it too. Then they will stop asking me to do it because they know I would do it anyway. It's one of the hardest things for a leader to do is to get used to confronting people, entering the danger, as we say, having difficult conversations. Now, why don't leaders do this on teams? It's because they often think, I don't want to make them feel bad. I used to say that. I used to say, I don't want to make my people feel bad when I tell them they're not doing something well. Then one day I realized, actually, I don't want them to blame me for feeling bad, and I don't want to be around them when they feel this way, so I'll just avoid it. But if I care about the people that work for me as a leader, my team members, and if I love them, I'll use that word, and I think we should, then I owe it to them to say these things to them. Because that's going to give them the confidence to say it to one another, and then everybody's going to be coaching each other. So this accountability thing is very, very difficult, but incredibly important, and the teams that get it always outperform the teams